Okay, so it's time for us to go ahead and continue our coverage over the Batman The Long Halloween storyline. And really, we're getting into the conclusion of this storyline, the last four chapters of this event. And really, I had no idea there was a huge debate on the idea of who is the holiday killer. Now, for me personally, it's kind of obvious. The ending of the book tells you who are the two killers. But of course, you still have some folks believe that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sales were trying their best to throw people off. And honestly, I don't believe that. And really, the first page of this book really does kind of help us out to explain what's going on in this storyline. So for example, there is this killer known as the Holiday Killer who appears on different holidays throughout the year and kills off somebody close to Carmine Falcone or some kind of way to make sure their tracks are covered up. And so as we get into chapter 10 of the storyline, it's now Independence Day. The problem is that we're now seeing the Holiday Killer kill off the Gotham City coroner. And we're kind of left to wonder, why in the world did the Holiday Killer go after this guy for? Now, one of the things The Long Halloween had really established is the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, because she always just pops up randomly, but you have these two characters being able to pick up where they left off at. But right now, it's Selina saying Bruce, why are you still here? Let's go ahead and leave. Let's leave Gotham. But for Bruce, he says, I left Gotham once, but I got pulled back in. Now, this is Bruce telling us I made a promise to my parents and I have to keep that promise. But it is Selina saying I'm going to try my best to convince you to leave this city. But later on that night, you do have Batman meet up with Harvey Dent. Now remember, when it comes to these two characters, Harvey has no idea that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he went after Bruce Wayne because he believed there was some kind of connection between Bruce and Carmine Falcone, because Bruce's father many years ago saved the life of Carmine Falcone. That supposed connection could mean that Bruce might be the Holiday Killer or have some connection to the Holiday Killer. But come to find out, it was a mistake. Is Harvey apologizing to Batman for making that mistake? Now, while you have the two guys talking to one another, that is when you have Jim Gordon appear. And Jim says, hey, the Holiday Killer has striked again. But now we do switch over to the prison where we pick up with Maroni. Now for Maroni, he was the second biggest mobster in Gotham City. If Carmine Falcone had disappeared, then Maroni would have the ability to take over the underworld. Now here's the thing, because at first, a lot of folks believed that he was the Holiday Killer. But come on, guys, that'd be too easy, right? But while being in prison, we do learn that he is supposed to testify against Carmine Falcone. Harvey could use him as a way to bring down Carmine. But while you have Maroni in prison, he's then confronted by Sophia. Now for Sophia, she is the daughter to Carmine Falcone. We learn here that she went to prison for Maroni, but on top of that, they're also in love with one another. But this is her saying listen, first off, you owe me one for going to prison for you. But also listen, if something happens to Harvey, everyone will get a break, because they believe that Harvey Dent is the Holiday Killer. But now we have to transition over to Barbara and also Gilda, the wife to Harvey Dent. Now, when it comes to Gilda, we have to remember that she was kind of hoping that sooner or later, her and Harvey would be able to spend more time together, start a family together. But the problem is for Gilda is Harvey Dent's been pulled away so many times for just one particular case, the whole case of Carmine Falcone. And it's her kind of hating Gotham because she also feels like Harvey Dent is slowly changing into something else, a man that she does not truthfully recognize. But for Batman, also Jim Gordon, you have the two characters investigating the scene of the crime, the death of the coroner. Now, while you have the two characters right now trying to figure things out, we have to realize Harvey Dent's not there, one. But number two, Selina Kyle is watching over Batman and also Jim Gordon as well. Now, for Batman, he does kind of explain things to Jim that he believes that Harvey Dent could be the holiday killer. Now, before you have the two characters being able to continue on with their conversation, that is when a bunch of fireworks just go off out of nowhere. And this is where we get reminded that Scarecrow and the Mad Hatter are both just out there causing havoc across Gotham. Now, when it came to an earlier chapter, we saw Scarecrow being able to escape, and Batman realized that somebody had to help Scarecrow break out of Arkham Asylum. The problem for Bruce was he was hit with fear toxin, and at the same time, he was also being accused for being the holiday killer by Harvey Dent. So for Batman, he wasn't really able to figure out where Scarecrow went to or who helped Scarecrow out. But it's Bruce telling us like, yeah, it was the Mad Hatter and also Scarecrow. Now for Bruce, he also realized that these two guys are working for Carmine Falcone. But while you have Batman trying to take them down, you didn't have Selina Kyle help out with the whole entire situation. Here's the thing, because for Batman, he wants to know why in the world is she following him around for? And the thing is, for Selina Kyle, she does not really tell Bruce like why she is there. Why was she trying to help him out? She's right now trying to keep that a secret for herself. But after that, you didn't have her leave to allow Batman to officially hand Scarecrow and also Mad Hatter over to the police. And that wraps up chapter 10 of the storyline. Now, as we get into the next chapter, we're really picking up with, of course, Harvey Dent and his wife having a conversation because she found the weapon, the same kind of weapon that the holiday killer has been using in all his different killings. And so it's her kind of questioning Harvey like, why do you have this weapon? Now for Harvey, he does get very defensive here, but at the same time, he's telling her like, listen, I am the district attorney. I will always bring some piece of evidence home with me. Now that does sound kind of weird, but she kind of realized that apparently he's telling her he has been doing this the entire time. But it's her kind of wondering like, wait, is Harvey the holiday killer? But now we have to jump over to Batman. Now for Batman, it's him looking for the Riddler. And here's the reason why. Well, really two reasons why. Because back in April Fool's Day, you had Carmine Falcone bring the Riddler in to try to figure out who could be the holiday killer. The problem was the Riddler could not figure out who was the holiday killer. Now, the thing is, right after you had Carmine Falcone let the Riddler leave, well, that is when he was confronted by, of course, the holiday killer. But the holiday killer did not kill off the Riddler. He let him live on April Fool's Day. And so for Batman, it's kind of like, why did Carmine Falcone bring you in for? Of course, we already know, to figure out who is the holiday killer. But on top of that, it's Batman kind of wondering like, do you actually know who is the killer? Of course, the Riddler does not know. But also, you have both men realize that Carmine Falcone only hired the Riddler to spread the word that he is trying his best to figure out who is the holiday killer. And when we jump over to Carmine Falcone, we see him and his sister Carla kind of going back and forth with one another. Because for Carla, she does not really like how Carmine has been handling the family business. But for Carmine, he's kind of like, it's not your place to tell me how you feel of how I run our family business. But on top of that, I don't have to explain anything to you at all. But that is when you then have Sophia walk into the room and says they are ready. And what she means by that is, when it comes to Maroni, let's not forget, Harvey Dent is going to use him to testify against Carmine Falcone to finally close this case down. But also, let's not forget, Sophia did pay Maroni a visit in prison and said, you basically owe me one, dude. But also, if we get rid of Harvey, everyone is safe. And so you have Harvey Dent's assistant, who has been working with Maroni behind the scenes this entire time, hand him some kind of container. And of course, this leads into the origin of Two-Face. Because as we all know, when it comes to Harvey Dent, he tries to get Maroni to testify against Carmine Falcone to pull out the truth. Maroni is not trying to wring out the truth. And matter of fact, when he pulls out that container, we learn there's acid inside there. And so you have Maroni throw the acid right on Harvey Dent's face. And of course, it begins to burn him. We are getting the birth of Two-Face here. That night, we do learn that Harvey Dent was taken over to the hospital to get some help. But the doctor come out and say, Harvey's gone. And we kind of find out that he was stabbed in the back. Things get even worse because now we see Carla at the Gotham City Coroner office. And while she's going through all these different files of people who have been killed off, well, the holiday killer strikes again and kills her off this time. And that closes this chapter, chapter 11. Now, as we enter the 12th chapter, we're picking up with Two-Face, but in the sewers. And we now see him being confronted by Solomon Grundy. Now, with Solomon Grundy being there, he attacks Two-Face because Harvey Dent is in his territory. But you did have Harvey begin to say the nursery rhyme that Solomon Grundy is named after. And it makes him stop. But it also allows Harvey Dent to kind of realize that the nursing rhyme is the origin of Solomon Grundy, but also it allows Harvey to wonder, like, do men have the ability to live two lives? But as we jump over to Batman and also Jim Gordon, it's the two of them kind of wondering, like, where is Harvey Dent? Where could he have gone to? But also, this is where you have Batman tell Jim Gordon, like, hey, listen, so I believe that Harvey Dent is the holiday killer. It makes the most sense that he would be the killer, the dude who's trying to bring down Carmine Falcone. Now for Jim, he's kind of like, how long? How long did you know that Harvey Dent was the holiday killer? Here's the problem with all of this. Batman does not have any hard evidence that proves that Harvey Dent is the holiday killer. It's him just saying, like, it makes the most sense. He's the one person who has been trying the most to bring down Carmine Falcone. But you didn't have Jim say, go. Just go out there and find Harvey Dent. And so you have Bruce go pay a visit over to Carmine Falcone. Now, this is Bruce saying, like, Carmine might know where Harvey Dent is at. Now, for Carmine, he's mad at Batman because he believes that Harvey Dent is the holiday killer. Like, if Batman did his job, then most likely none of Carmine's family members would have been killed off. The problem is that he's wrong. Like, it's not Harvey Dent. You'll see why here at the end. But it's Batman kind of like, you know what? I am upset with myself because if Harvey Dent is a holiday killer, I had the ability to actually stop him. Now, once again, for Batman, he kind of realized that he's being followed, that somebody is watching him. And of course, that would be Catwoman. She's just there kind of like, okay, I see you having a whole conversation with Carmine Falcone. Batman goes, confronts her, but she does not tell him anything at all of the reason why she is there. She just once again leaves. And for Batman's kind of wondering, like, why is she watching him, but especially watching Carmine Falcone and his entire family? Now for Batman, he goes over to see Gilda, the wife to Harvey Dent, to ask her, like, hey, where is your husband? Because he believes she might have an idea. But the thing is, just like everyone else, she has no idea where Harvey is at. And that right there is breaking her heart. But it's also her telling Batman, like, she found the weapon. She found the gun that has been used in all these different murder cases involving the holiday killer. And so for Gilda, it's kind of like, please, just please bring Harvey home. And for Batman, he's trying to figure out where in the world Harvey could be at. Now, you do have Batman pay a visit over to the Calendar Man. And when it comes to the Calendar Man, he has been trying to tell Bruce Wayne, tell Batman, everyone else, like, your killer is a female. It is not a male. And so for Batman, it's him telling Calendar Man, like, hey, so I want to let you know, like, We got Harvey Dent. He's the holiday killer. But for the calendar man, he's kind of like, Harvey Dent is the holiday killer? You're wrong. Like, you're flat out wrong. It's not him. But I will tell you this. You do have somebody or something the holiday killer wants. That right there is his next clue for Batman, because now it's Labor Day. It's a holiday. He's going to strike again. And so that is when we get reminded about Maroni, because remember, he did do a crime. He assaulted Harvey Dent in court. And so while you have them try to transport him somewhere else, somebody comes from behind and actually shoot and kill Maroni just like that. There he goes. Now, you do have this killer try to go after Jim Gordon and the other guard who's there. The other guard is, well, Batman. But we do come to find out who is the killer, the holiday killer. It's Alberto, the son of Falcone. And this is pretty huge. And so as we get into the last chapter, let me explain why this is huge, because Alberto died like the midpoint of the storyline. We were kind of left to believe the holiday killer was the one who killed off Alberto a while ago. But now it's kind of like, wait a second. Alberto is alive. Did he fake his death? How in the world was he able to pull all of this off? Where are all these different pieces leading into? But either way, you do have Batman being able to bring down Alberto just like that. And so this kind of leads into Alberto being confronted by his father after being arrested. And this is where we kind of learn why Alberto did what he did. You see, for Alberto, we kind of learned in the earlier parts of the storyline that he wanted to be part of the family business. But for Carmine Falcone, that was a no. He kind of kept his son at arm's distance, did not really allow him to take part in the family business. But it's also Alberto telling us, like, Carmine Falcone was technically never around as a father to him. Like, he does not know much about his son. Their bond is non-existent. And so for Alberto, he tells his father, no, I don't need your help. I don't want your help. Like, it's me saying I am the holiday killer. Because now the question is, where is Harvey Dent? Because you have Gilda, Jim, and his wife kind of wondering where Harvey is at. With the word getting out there that they were able to get the holiday killer, to lock him up, that Harvey Dent's name is technically clear, like you would think he would come back home. But he hasn't yet. And for Gilda, she's wondering where in the world is her husband? And we kind of get the idea where he's at, that technically he's paying a visit over to the calendar man, and you have him say, sorry. And then he just walks away. And this is where the turning point comes in, because you have Carmine just being so upset about the fact that his son, Alberto, is going to die. Like, he's going to gas chamber, but then the power cuts off. You did have all the guards begin to laugh left and right. You didn't have him and his daughter walk into his office where he is confronted by Batman's rogues, the Mad Hatter, Solomon Grundy, the Joker, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Scarecrow, but also Two-Face is there as well. Mind you, the last chapter does take place on Halloween. Now, this is us seeing Harvey Dent just being like, I'm done. Like, I told y'all, I'm going to bring down the Falcone family. Well, here we are. I'm going to bring them down once and for all. And so we're seeing Harvey Dent with all the rogues of Batman just saying, like, it's time for you to die. Now, Batman does arrive, right? And you have Batman trying his best to stop Harvey, to stop his rogues. But by the end of the first half of this whole scene right here, you have Harvey being able to kill off Carmine Falcone. He dies right then and there. Now, for Sophia, she's really upset because she just watched her father die right in front of her eyes. She wants to go get revenge, but you have Selena try to stop her. They go out the window, and unfortunately for Sophia, she falls to her death. And it's kind of like, man, this whole entire ending is just wrapping up so fast and quickly. Now, for Batman, he does try to talk to Harvey, like, hey, Harvey, listen, don't do this. Stop what you're doing right now. You can go back home to your wife. You have Two-Face pretend at first like he's going to walk over to Batman. And then you have Two-Face just knock Batman right in the head with his gun, knocking him out. But right after that, you then have Harvey go pay a visit to Vermin, because Vermin was the guy who basically helped out Maroni to throw acid on his face. And so it's Two-Face saying like, I know that you saw him before the actual trial begun. So guess what? You got to go too. Bam, bam, there goes Vermin. By the time Batman gets there, Two-Face already left the room. And so you then have Batman, Harvey, and also Jim being able to meet up with one another. Now, here's the thing, because for Harvey, he's now Two-Face. It's like two different personalities in his mind, but it's also him still wanting to hold up the idea of law, that Carmine Falcone had to go because what he did was wrong for the city. But also for Harvey, he killed somebody. He also has to go to prison for what he did to Carmine Falcone. But either way, it's Jim saying like, you betrayed everything you stand for. Like, what is going on with you? Now, before you have Two-Face be taken away, it's Two-Face telling Batman, telling Jim like, you gotta realize there were two holiday killers out there. Now, for Batman and also Jim, they're kind of wondering, what in the world does he mean by that? Like, do you really believe what he just said is true? Is there two holiday killers out there? Because right now, all we know is one. But this kind of leads us into the ending of the book, right? Where we kind of find out who are the two killers in the Long Halloween. Now, this is where you had a lot of folks kind of debate like, hey, you know what? He's a killer. She's a killer. I'm going to tell you right now, the first one is clearly Gilda. And here's the reason why. Because she says that she was there Halloween, Thanksgiving, and again on Christmas. So she was the first killer. She was out there because she read all the past cases of Harvey Dent. She knew how to dress. She knew what weapon to use, what kind of silencer she needed. She was prepared because she read the old cases of Harvey Dent. She was the first killer up until New Year's. Now, New Year's, Alberto died. And here's the thing. After he had died, Harvey Dent came home with wet hair. She believes that it was Harvey Dent who killed Alberto, who kind of picked up where she left off at and became the second holiday killer. But I still think it's Alberto. Alberto had to be the one who killed off the rest of the people in this book. And here is the reason why. Alberto faked his death. He had to kill the coroner because, again, he faked his death. So it's kind of like, no, that's the main clue right there that shows that he is the other killer. Now, for Gilda, she believes it's Harvey Dent. And you have some folks out there that still believe that it is Harvey Dent as the second holiday killer. I don't believe that. But anyways, this is the end of the Long Halloween, a very long storyline, but we are officially done. With that being said, guys, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see you all next time. Later.